attribute today. Okay, so yeah, so let's start with that. So what is HTML attribute all about? So HTML attribute is nothing but it's like attribute is included inside the opening tag of the HTML. Okay, and then it provides the additional information regarding the element. Okay, that is the main theme of the attribute. So next we'll move on how the attribute looks inside the tag. So before seeing like before going to the practice, just we see here in the image we have one tag named img, right? And we have, this is the opening tag, and it's already, we know, like image is always already like having the auto close tag, right? So in this, if you see src, alt, so these are the attributes which are included inside the tag img, right? So src is a attribute name, like we are because see img is nothing but it's like an image, but to give more extra information to it, what we have added? We have added src. src is not nothing but it's an attribute, and it explains about where the image coming from which path the image will be attached to this img tag. Because img tag is used for image, but the image should be from some path, some place, right? So because of that reason, we are just writing src equals, in double quotes we can write the image path. So that defines, like, okay, this img tag image is attached, and this is the name of the image or path of the image where the image to be taken and to be displayed here, right? And same way we can see the another attribute name, that is alt. That is nothing but it's like a alternative form of src. Like if let's suppose the image is not available, let's suppose the image is not proper, okay, or someone has deleted the image, or if you have typed some naming mismatch, so that time the alt attribute will be created, right? So photo of the board, something like that. So you can see we can provide multiple attributes in the same tag, right? Like here we can see there are two attributes, and the structure defines as attribute name equals, in double quotes, the value, right? Same way attribute names equals double quotes and value. So these are the attributes, right? So as I discussed, like attribute provided in the tag so that we can see, give the additional information, right? So it might change the behavior, it might change the appearance. Like see now image, if I'll write only img tag, nothing will get displayed, just one broken image will get displayed. But once I write src, once I provide this src and provide the what is that, the value for this, then proper image will be displayed in front of, in place of that img tag, right? So basically it is like changing. So other attributes are nothing but other attribute lists are also there with us. So we'll see line by step by step what all attributes are available. So next we'll move on to list of attributes. So how many like there are so many lists of attributes are available in HTML, right? So we'll go and check with all the attributes. So you can see first attributes are class. So inside paragraph, if you see here, we have added one class attribute, and we have added the name of the class, important text. So this are, yeah, yes. Sorry, I didn't get it. Not showing. Okay, let me reshare once again. Oh, okay, I have not shared the screen. Okay, I'll just share it. Okay, it's fine now. Can you able to see? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so list of HTML attributes. So see here, one first attribute we are checking about class. So basically we can add, like already we saw the structure of class, right? We can add the attribute with attribute name, with equal symbol and the value, right? Same way we have written the attribute name, equal symbol and the value, right? So this is the way we write the attribute. So same thing, if we go and check, we have already one paragraph, right? The p tag, paragraph. But inside paragraph opening tag, attribute always will be included inside the opening tag, not in the closing tag, right? This is the closing tag, this is the opening tag. So inside opening tag we have to write class important text. So class attribute. So class attribute is nothing but it's like when we go for doing some design to the paragraph tag, that time we use this class attribute. So what is the actual use of the class attribute? I'll define with example. Okay. Same way we have other than that ID attribute. ID attribute is nothing but we can provide ID inside the any tag, and then we can provide the name of the ID, right? That ID number. So with this what happens, ID basically defines the uniqueness, right? If I provide ID, ID will never be duplicate, right? But class will be for multiple places, but ID should not be the same for every tag. Okay, class is like a grouping something. Means let's suppose we have four paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and if you want to make all the paragraph having same size, right, having same size, but if you don't want the fifth paragraph to be the same size, so what we can do, we can do four paragraph we can write in a class, and that class we can define some CSS. Okay, so basically class is for group of changing the behavior or design for group of element at once, but ID means changing the behavior and design for a specific element. Okay, it's like a unique element. Okay, so that is basically ID. Are you facing any difficulties to see the screen? It's fine, everything? Yeah, okay. So let's start with the example of class and ID in practical way so that you will understand properly. Okay, so same way we have this HTML tag in body, so let's create p tag. Okay, and let's write the this is the paragraph 1, right, as it's very normal. So just we'll try to open with live server. So we can see this is the paragraph 1 is just displayed, right? So next we can just add it as it is 2, 3 paragraph, right? Now let's see, I'm just giving one attribute, that is ID attribute, right? So I'll just provide ID. So how to write attribute? We have to provide keep in the opening tag with attribute name, that is ID, equals inside double quotes we have to give any name we want. Any name, like let's suppose I'm just giving para, something name, any name you want to give, you just give the name. Okay, so what happens here when I'm providing the ID? Okay, now the anything I will write for the para, like later I'll define all those in CSS class, means if I do anything in the para, it will just affect to this paragraph. Okay, if I'll do anything to this ID, like if I'll change para, some style I'll give, like let's suppose color change, then it will only apply to first para. It will not apply to other para. Okay, so that is basically ID. Okay, now let's suppose if I'm writing class. Class is also an attribute, right? So if I write class grp para, okay, grp para. So this class, now let's suppose if I'm doing anything for this class, no, like in if I want to change the style or anything, any changes, if I want to make this, any changes, if I want to make this to this class, then it will affect to this para. But if I copy this class and paste it inside second para, right? So this also, this whenever I'll change to this group para, it will affect to this paragraph also, it will affect to this paragraph also. Okay, that is the thing. Now to see this, now it's not the proper time to explain regarding like what we are going to do, but if you like now just I can show you how exactly it works. Okay, so later we can discuss more on detail. So inside head tag, I'll just create a style tag. Okay, and inside I'll just write dot para, and I'll try to change the color as red. Okay, same thing I'll just do, because ID selector is there, no, here ID attributes are there, so that is the reason ID will be included with hash symbol. Okay, hash para name. If class is there, then using dot symbol. Okay, let's suppose I'll just color yellow. Now you can see, and the para is, so we have first paragraph as id para, we have second and third para as class grp para, but fourth para nothing is there. But I am changing the color of id, that is red, I am changing the color of class, that is yellow. Okay, but classes are two para, right? Now if you go and see the screen, you can see first para is red because it's a id, right? Second para and third para was having the class, so if I'm changing anything to the class, it will affect to both of the para, right? So class can be multiple inside the html file, class can be multiple, but id should not be multiple because id is always a unique. Okay, so id should not be multiple. It doesn't mean like, yeah, you will just copy this id and paste it inside other para. No, you should not do that. If you are doing, you have to change the name. So not write duplicate, right? Para 2 you can write. This you can write. But you can't write the same name, whatever you have provided on the first para, same name you can't write. ID should never be duplicate, right? But class can be duplicated. Okay. So these things you have to keep in mind always. But more on detail, what I did here, that we will see in the CSS classes. Okay. But just to showcase to you the example for ID and classes, I have just did like this way. Now see, till now I have given para as color red, so it's displaying red. I have given yellow, it's displaying yellow, but third I have not provided anything. See, for ID, this para one I have not provided anything. So that's why it's having the default black. But let's suppose if I will do for this as well, now if you see, if I'll try to change this, and if I'll just do background color as blue. Now see, now third para will be background color as blue. See, background color as blue. As this is a para, that's why it's blue is for entire row, right? Yesterday I have discussed, para means it will occupy complete row. Even though it will have very less text with it or very less content with it, but it will occupy entire screen, right? So that is the reason. So this we will check in the CSS classes, but you have to understand like what is the meaning of attributes and all, right? So these are the attribute. Okay, then what is the use of attribute also you have to understand. Now ID you saw, class you saw, there is style attribute. Style attribute is nothing but it's like providing some styling to the element, right? So same way what we did here, we can do directly inside here. Same thing, like instead of writing the class para, I'll just write style, okay, and I can just write some name of the style, COLL color, YELLOW with semicolon. If you want to add one more, style to it, then just semicolon. After semicolon, you have to write background color as red. Okay, like this you can write. Same way you can use this same style and you can paste it wherever you want. Okay, you can paste it wherever you want. Now if you see, I have pasted here and I have pasted in the last. So this two has color as yellow and background as red. So like this we can provide multiple. If you want to provide multiple styling, then just having semicolon separation you should provide. If one style, then no need to provide any separate semicolon, right? So if I'll just do color yellow, it will just color yellow, but I'm not providing any background color as red, right? So this is basically the attribute, style attribute is there. But what happens like in normal, like when we do programming, we should not follow this style. Okay, we have to keep all the styling in separate place. Okay, so that we'll check in the next CSS classes. Okay, same way src already we have checked for image. Next we have alt, already we have checked for image. Next we have href, already we have checked. So href is nothing but whatever link we will write or provide, that anchor tag will be redirecting. we can redirect to that respective page or respective link. Okay, width and height attribute, like already we have seen this. Like if we create any image img, so I saw in your assignment it was written img and src. This is also one attribute, and then dot slash, I'll just write mango. But if I do this, what happens, if you see, it's having the big complete size, whatever the size or shape of the picture is there, that entire size occupying to this window, right? But I can change the height and the width of this images. So how I can do, I can have to write one more attribute, that is width. So if I write width attribute 100 pixel, then if you see here, width has become reduced suddenly. Okay, same way if you want to write height, let's suppose I just write 300 pixel, so height will become 300 pixels. So these are all the attribute. So this is how we create the attribute and we provide for element in the starting tag. Okay, not in the closing tag. This is closing tag, right, which have slash, but this is the starting tag. So we can write here all the attribute names and the value. So this you have to understand. Okay, attribute. So next we will move on to placeholder attribute. Okay, so let's try with placeholder attribute. So you can see inside input tag, yesterday I have created input tag, right? Input tag type text. But with that type text, we have one more attribute called placeholder. So that placeholder, what is the use of that placeholder? We will check it today. So let's go back and let's start with one form. So I'll create form, okay, and with that I will just create one input. So type text. If you see as output, you can just see one text is there. But this does not provide us information like what type of input we have to write here. Like whether this text box is for name or whether this text box is for email. So we don't have that idea, right? So either we can do two way. Either we can write label label, okay, label and write name name. Okay, this is one way to provide the information about this text box. Or if we don't want, then just comment the label, and inside this we can just write placeholder and just write enter name or name, anything. So if you see here, we have already inside the text box there is a very light gray color enter name. So by seeing this, what we understand, okay, inside this text box I have to write name, but this is not the value for the text. If once I click here and once I write anything, the text will vanish. Enter name, the text will vanish. But if we can clear it, again the text will come. So that is nothing but it's a placeholder. It's not an actual value to that text. Okay, actual value is, if I write here Sandeep, that is actual value. Okay, the text value is Sandeep. So when I start writing anything inside the text box, that placeholder will get clear. Okay, it's like a information regarding that input text box. Okay, so this is one attribute inside the input text. Okay, next we'll go for disabled, right? Disabled and required. So what is disabled and what is required? Disabled by name itself, we think like, okay, something is disabled, something is there restricted for us to do. Okay, disabled means it's like a restricted. So what we can do, we can just write, now see, if I include here placeholder and if I include disabled, okay, equal to true. Okay, disabled equal to true, and if you see here, we can't click here, we can't write anything, nothing, it got disabled, we can't write, this text box got disabled. Okay, we can't write anything, we can't click on this, we can't name anything. So that time this disable is true. But if I make disable is false, now we can able to write the thing here. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, it should work basically. Okay, fine, so no problem, it's fine. So we can just remove the disable so that it will work for writing the text. Okay, so this is one place. So we can write disabled for making the text disabled. Now another one is it's a required, right? So if we write required, it denotes like if I type anything or if I miss this text, like let's suppose in form, you have registration form, but sometimes what happens, you will miss the name or you miss the email. So if you miss the email typing or if you miss the name, and once you click button to submit, that time it will tell you the field is required, something information it will give. So for checking that, I'll just do one thing. I'll just create type not as text, type as button. I'll just try type as submit. Submit is nothing but it's a button. So now see, now if I try submit, now see, it's telling please fill in the field because this input text is having required attribute. Okay, required attribute. If I clear the required attribute, if I submit, nothing is coming, right? It will get submitted. But once I do required attribute, now if I click submit, you can see it's telling please fill in the field. Means it's telling okay, type something, it's a required field. Okay, so this is the attribute name. So these are the attributes which we use to change the HTML, because only writing the HTML is not enough for us. We have to make the dynamic kind of thing, right? It's not like a static we are writing something. So some color changing should be there, some validation should be there, some size of the elements should be there. So many things has to get changed dynamically. Okay, so because of all those reasons, we need this attribute, or we need later in the JavaScript we can use code and we can change the value of the paragraph, or you can make this dynamic and interactive to the user, right? So these are the attribute list. Okay, I think that's it for today. We'll close the class.